Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today we'll be talking about the Better Than Adventure mod for beta 1.7.3, and this mod adds a whole bunch of new blocks, new structures, and even a reworked armor system, and on top of that it adds backboarded commands. So let's get right to it. So every ore, first off, every vanilla overworld ore will spawn in 4 different variants. They'll have the basalt, limestone, stone, and granite ore. There will also be nether coal, which you can use that for something else I'll get to later. Moving on, we have all the lamps that you can find or you can build and craft, and they come in all these different colors, and they're powered by redstone. Sadly, they do not glow in the light that they have, the color. It will be a white light anyways, sadly, but it is beta, so I don't think you can. There might be a way they can implement that later, but not entirely sure. So moving on, there are a bunch of different firefly lanterns, and these come in all different kinds of colors. They come in green, blue, and yellow, as well as red. These come in 4 different colors, and they do have little particle effects, and you can find fireflies throughout your world and collect them in jars. Alright, next up we have reworked mob spawners. So you can find activated mob spawners and deactivated mob spawners throughout your world. They will always be activated when you get to them, but when they activate, they become deactivated, and it takes a very long time for them to spawn more mobs. So pretty much making any mob farms not as effective if you're going to use mob spawners. Another thing that they do though is they drop the mob's loot when you break the spawner, a lot of it. This is different for every mob that spawns, and I'll get back to that later. I'll demonstrate it later by finding a dungeon. Next up, we have painted woods. So these are all the color variants that the painted wood comes in. Yeah, you can paint these and I guess build whatever with them. There are a bunch of different ones. So there's light gray, purple, yellow, blue, magenta, and all these other ones right here. So build to your heart's content with those. Alright, and I forgot to mention, but this does have hotbar swapping throughout your inventory, which is pretty useful. Alright, next up we have different types of bricks. So these bricks you can build, of course, and they are pretty fashionable. So you have basalt, granite, marble, limestone, stone, iron, gold, permafrost, which that's a new block I'll show later, and lapis bricks. So those are all more blocks you can build with. Next up there is a glass trapdoor, which I am assuming is a substitute for a glass pane, which obviously aren't in old beta versions of Minecraft. Yeah, of course it functions exactly like a trapdoor. Next, there's a snowman. Quite literally, it is a zombie that drops snow when killed and looks like this. It spawns in winter dungeons, which are new, and there are also a bunch of different dungeons I'll show later. And yeah, these guys just drop snow, so demonstrate. They just drop snow here. That one didn't, but they can just drop snowballs and not really much else useful loot. Alright, next up, here's a very big thing here. We have a completely reworked armor system. So every armor, as you can see here, protects against something else. And so with something like a full set of leather armor, you have almost complete fall damage negation. So if I was to fly up here and set my game mode to survival. Alright, so here I am in survival, and if I jump off, you don't really take much damage from falling, but you do sacrifice the protection of everything else, and it does not protect that much against all damage sources. And so things like gold and iron protect against all damage sources equally. So, and gold protects quite significantly more, but you know, it's gonna break. And since there aren't enchants in this version, you are gonna have to repair these. And you have chainmail, which protects against combat damage from swords, zombies, and skeletons, stuff like that. And not so much against everything else. And there are also diamonds that protect against fire, which is pretty useful if you're traversing the nether, and quite a bit of everything else. So, of course, diamonds are still very good. And finally, we have a new armor set and material. We have steel. Steel protects against explosion damage and everything else pretty equally. And so, if you hate creepers, steel is the way to go. We also have new tools for steel. Pretty much the steel fire striker or flint and steel, and steel shears are just the same things, except they have more durability, and that's about it. Steel pickaxes. Mine a little bit faster than diamond, not by much. I'll demonstrate that. Here's a steel pickaxe. Alright, and here's a diamond pickaxe. Alright, so diamond pickaxes, mine a little bit faster than steel, but steel has a lot more durability by a whole bunch. And finally, gold acts as silk touch, so you can pick up any ores that you come across and want to build with. Basalt ores like this would be pretty cool to build with, along with the nether coal. Might be fun to build with as well. Alright, so up next, we have chain links, which you can use pretty much just to repair found chainmail armor, and hand cannons, which are pretty interesting. They're not really good, but you can load it, and you shoot an explosive charge, which, from my testing, are pretty decent for moving yourself around or just getting a double jump. Now, this would probably be best paired with steel armor, since it is explosion damage, but maybe if you just need to get up higher a little bit, you can do that with hand cannons. I would not really recommend using them for damage, because they also don't really shoot that far, as you can see. Yeah, kind of mediocre. You're better off using a bow. Alright, and so that is it for the armor. Something to note is that in future updates, that in the beta that you can download right now on their GitHub, you can get dog armor by using a chest plate and putting it on the dog, and it will give the type of protection to you. So, like if you're going to use diamond chest plate, get fire and etc. Just like if you give it a steel chest plate, it will give it explosive protection. And yeah, that would be it for the armor. Next up, on to miscellaneous blocks, random ones. So we have the rotary calendar, which I'm not completely sure what it does at the moment. If I get a item frame? Nope, item frame's not this version. I'm not completely sure what it does yet. It seems there might be a use for it later, but it seems like it's just in the game right now. Quivers. These hold your arrows, obviously. So, get a bow. So quivers hold your arrows, like this. Put it on your back, and you can shoot. And since this is beta Minecraft, you know, you just kind of spam it to your heart's content. And yeah, that would be it for the quiver. Next up, we have a basket, which these are blocks that collect items, and you can pick them up by right-clicking on it. So they'll collect any and all items for you. I'm not going to throw all these in here, but like the armor and other things. So these are good if you're having a farm and need to collect items like wheat and other stuff. Alright, next up we have blast furnace, which, like I mentioned earlier, the nether coal is used in the blast furnace. So we'll go ahead and grab our nether coal over here. Alright, so by getting iron, you can put it into the blast furnace. Note that you do need nether coal, that you can use the nether coal to turn into steel, crude steel. Alright, and you can then use this by looking at the recipe book by pressing R. Let's go ahead and find steel ingots. By using 3 crude steel, you can make 1 steel ingot, so it's not too terribly expensive to make steel. You can probably make quite a bit with 1 nether coal. But yeah, that's it for the crude steel. There are also pebbles, which you can just throw. Not sure if they do damage. Let's test that. Yeah, they do a little damage. You can just throw them as much as you want, if you feel like that. Alright, next we have spike traps. And these are exactly what you think they are. They are spike traps. So if you power it with a lever or any other redstone source, you can actually use these and create fun traps with them. So, when I'm in survival, you can see that I am taking damage quite a bit, and you can't really jump out of it. But yeah, the spike traps are something you will find in dungeons as well, the new dungeons that they do add. And next up we have the motion sensor. So, the motion sensor will do exactly what you think it does, and sense motion. So, I think, yeah, let's get rid of this. So there probably is a way that I can make it to where this doesn't trigger, but yeah, you can do some fun redstone contraptions with this. And yeah, that's it for the motion sensor. So they also did add raw iron and raw gold ore. I'm assuming so to prevent you from being able to just pick up the ore variant itself, like iron ore block itself. So that's so to make a gold pickaxe a little more useful. Next, they added a golden quiver, and this is essentially infinite arrows. Yep, you can only find these in dungeons, and this is just essentially infinity. So yeah, that's the golden quiver. Next, we have flags, and so you can place down these flags and edit them. No one else can edit them except you once they are placed. So if I get some dyes, I can draw whatever I want on these flags. Like subscribe, if you haven't already. Subscribe, please. And yeah, you can also change these out, make it different layers, and change brush sizes, and do all sorts of cool stuff with the flags. And as you can see, it's updating real time with it. And yeah, so the flags are probably one of the best additions in this mod that I really like. And so you can do it with red dye and all other sorts of stuff. Different tools, fill, buckets, and circles, if I can do that. Here. Still learning how to do this. I'm not really entirely sure how to add extra layers. But yeah, there's the flag, and you can pick it up and bring it to wherever you want it. And it will save the flag as well, so very cool. Next up, ice skates. Still not entirely sure what the purpose or point of these are. From what I know, you do slide a little bit on ice, like a little bit more than usual if you kind of like propel yourself on ice a bit, but not entirely sure what the ice skates are for. They're more or less just leather boots right now. Next up, we have a bucket of ice cream. Exactly what it sounds like. It heals a ton of health, and yeah, you craft it using cherries and a milk bucket, along with sugar. Right, next we have a label, and this is just a name tag, because name tags do not exist in this version. So, we name our dog. We can go ahead and, yep, there we go. He's named now, and this name tag will stay even if you're not looking at him. So that may get annoying to some people, but like just don't cram a bunch of things over there. But it does disappear behind blocks, which is nice. And we have olivine, which this is purely just a decorative block. You can craft it into olivine blocks, which look pretty good, in my opinion. Almost like, they look kind of like an emerald, or they look exactly like an emerald block, with a bit of a different texture. But yeah, that's what the olivine block looks like. Currently, they don't have any other use besides that, besides being decorative. Next, we have the mesh block, which can be used as a decorative item, or you can use it to make a trommler, or a trommel, which you can use to make a bunch of other sort of things that I will get into a different video. Pretty insane how big this update is. And finally, for these, there are chain link fences. So that's what the current release of the mod pack has to offer in terms of items and locks. So now let's move on to dungeons. Forget to mention that this mod, on top of everything, does add creative mode to this version, along with a flight/spectator system. But yeah, here is the dungeon. As you can see, it's relatively large, and it does have an opening up on the top here that you can go into. So these are randomly generated with random loot every time. Let's get to exploring it. All right, so here we are, and we are kitted out in diamond gear because these are actually really dangerous. So we are going down. This water is actually quite annoying. I'm gonna drop down there later. Maybe I should have grabbed a pickaxe, but we're gonna do what we can right now without a pickaxe. Here's our first loot chest. So yeah, this is where you will be finding chainmail and in other dungeons, but here is some of the loot that you can find. Music discs, sponges, and other items along with chainmail. This is a very big thing. You shouldn't just pass this up because you have diamond, because it does offer combat protection for those certain scenarios where you're gonna need that. And there are the spikes. Be careful. Don't go into every pit. So yeah, these don't only spawn in snow areas, but they spawn everywhere. But snow area variants just have their own special one. I want to go in that. You can also find the hand cannon here, along with some food. I'll grab that. All right, looks like I'm gonna have to drop down. Yeah, I wish I could block that up. All right. So here's a motion sensor. Kind of blocked off by gravel. Oh, that did something. That doesn't have anything, which is kind of strange. Yeah, not going down there. And also, just keep in mind there the zoom is included with the mod. This is not external mod. Oh. Yep, there we go. Ouch. So we go this way. Oh, what was that? I heard that fireball. It's one generator. Oh, wait. I'm actually gonna go into creative mode and grab a pickaxe real quick. Alright, so here we have a dungeon spawner. Ooh. Alright. It's a armored zombie spawner. Let's wait for it to spawn. The armored zombies are quite tough, but they do drop the chain links that you will need to repair your chainmail armor. I'm assuming this generation spawning could be messed up by the gravel, but we'll come back to that in a bit. Oh, jeez. Skeleton must have fell. I genuinely thought I might have died there, but alas, diamond armor exists. Diamond armor may be a little overpowered in this mod, so just be careful of that. Library room where you can find mossy wood. Man, just kind of walked right off. Right, so, sadly no chests in here. Chests can spawn in here, or I'm just not looking on the right spot. But we'll go back over and I'll try to get back up here in a minute. Go down more? No, definitely not. Here, let's dig right this way, and we'll build up now. Alrighty. Build over that so I don't mess up again. Ooh. Oh. Yeah, there are monster variants as well. Alright, skeleton spawner. See, they do drop their loot, so you don't just need to wait for them if you need loot as well. Golden quiver. Actually, let's put that on. That actually might be really good. Just put it on real quick. Oh. Yep, that can be used. Oh, we're back down here. I didn't see that. I guess let's get back up. Alright, so let's go back to this. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's spawning, sadly. That probably is just a bug, but anyways, we'll break this and we'll get all these chain links. So with the chain links, you can actually repair all your chain armor that you find here to full durability again. And that's pretty useful. If you're going through these dungeons, you may want to have chain armor as well. Get that combat protection. There's more over here. Ah, there's a lot of these in here. Yeah, that may just be it. The bow, of course, in the older versions is really good. Oh. I can't see anything. Let's break this. I like stall. Stall's a good music disc. Anyways, go back around. Yeah, that may be it. Conclude our small dungeon run. There are larger ones than this, and of course they are randomly generated with these rooms right now. That's pretty much it for this mod pack. Okay, so if you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing and like the video for more content. Thanks for watching and have a good day.